Hi, I'm Cherniak, co-host of This Green Earth, on KPCW every Tuesday at 9 a.m. And tonight I'm here at the Sunday night screening of Chasing Ice, film chronicling National Geographic photographer James Balog's attempts to show visual evidence of retreating glaciers around the globe, mostly North America. We're here to have a great time and watch this, and afterwards we're going to have an opportunity to have a little Q&A session with the director of Chasing Ice, that's Jeff Orlowski, who'll be joining us via Skype. So enjoy the film and have some questions. Thanks.
Yeah, there we go.
Hi, I'm Chris Cherniak with This Green Earth.
Awesome, great, Chris. Thanks so much.
Thanks for taking the time to join us to answer some questions from the audience. If you guys have any questions, there's a microphone right down here. Calm down, and ask Jeff anything you want. I did. Jeff and I have had a chance to talk a couple of times. Hey, fantastic film.
Thank you so much. I heard it was a packed house tonight, too. They turned some people away, I heard?
And we turned hundreds of people away.
Oh.
Good job. Well done. Doesn't look like a packed house there. So, we have a question here. I'll help moderate things. Go right ahead.
Hey, Jeff, it's Sharon. How are you doing?
Great, yeah.
So I told Park City about the 2 secrets that you told me to share with just us in the world.
Sure.
And they liked that, and they laughed at the fact that you wore cotton that day.
Yes, I'm wearing cotton today too, I believe.
Yeah, you're sitting in your living room. But maybe you could tell us what James is doing today in Antarctica.
Yeah, he's down there in Antarctica. He's actually there with his daughter, Emily. He's going down there. I forgot how he got access to the ship and on this particular trip down there. He's been there a couple times, I believe. And he's also trying to use this opportunity to scout for some additional camera installations he wants to do. The cameras are still shooting. They've been out there for over 5 years now. There are 34 cameras at 16 different glaciers all around the world. They shoot every half hour of daylight. Literally 4 minutes ago, there were 34 cameras that checked to see if there was enough light. If there was enough light to take a photograph, it would turn the camera on, take a picture, and put it back into hibernation. And he wants to install cameras in Antarctica, also in South America, and some other places that he wants to install more cameras.
Great. Go ahead.
Hey Jeff, this is Scott Frank. I wanted to say thanks. I think you've given us a really amazing gift. And I think it's as a result of your perseverance and your vision. And that's something that's benefited all of us here tonight and everyone who will see it in the future. So I have 2 questions. One is, how have you been able to do all of this? Starting from the cotton shirts, and I imagine it's taken a lot of work and time to go through that, and I think that your story can be a good inspiration for everyone who wants to do something and follow their vision. And the second question is, after seeing this film tonight, what's your advice and your recommendation for us to do as a result? What can we do?
Yeah, great, thank you, and they're both really good questions. I started working on this when I was 23. That's when I met James. I met James when I was 22 or so, and the project was getting started in March of 2007, and a good friend of mine connected me to James, and I had the opportunity to travel with him. We weren't planning on making a film. The intention was to document what he was doing. It was to create this video archive. James is he's obviously thinking long-term in terms of documenting these glaciers and how the glaciers are changing. And I'm glad that he saw the value of documenting his project in video. So the original goal was just YouTube videos and promotional materials. And after we kept doing all these expeditions, we had this body of footage. We had hundreds of hours worth of footage. And the time-lapses are really starting to show a really compelling story. And about 1.5 to 2 years into the project is when I was really starting to pitch James, please let me make the film, give me the go-ahead. We've got the footage, we've got the materials, just give me the green light and I'll go ahead and I'll make a film. And he was resistant. Understandably so. It's totally fair for him to have had that resistance. I was 24, 25. I hadn't made a feature film before. I didn't really know what I was doing. I tried to make him think that I knew what I was doing, as much as I was trying to convince myself. But it was one of those scenarios where ignorance was bliss. When I finally convinced James to kind of give me the green light and to go ahead, I started building a team around me, and one of the most valuable things was surrounding myself with people who had a lot more experience and a lot more knowledge than I had. Really trying to build a team where everybody, I wanted their skill set to add to my inexperience. We submitted it to Sundance. The day that we submitted it to Sundance, we got an offer from a company to buy the film. We thought we had hit it out of the park. We were so excited by the success, the potential upcoming success. And then we didn't get into Sundance. We didn't get into Tribeca. We didn't get into South by Southwest. We didn't get into the biggest film festivals out there. And we turned down at that point, and we were trying to figure out, what are we going to do with this? What does this mean? We ended up spending 2 more years editing the film. And we restructured the whole thing. We changed the entire storyline as to what the film was really about. Originally, we didn't want it to be a film about climate change. We wanted it to be about James's personal story because that's what we thought was unique. That's what we thought we had access to that nobody else could really talk about and share that story. And ultimately, we realized that it was the wrong focus. People saw the film and they said that they were interested in the subject, and they were interested in James's story, but they wanted to know more about the ice. And ultimately, we restructured the whole thing and spent 2 years editing, and finally we got into Sundance this year. I think, from my perspective, on behalf of the whole team, this was really a passion project for all of us. We wanted to put our hearts and souls into it because, more than anything, we felt that we had a responsibility to share this story. You know, I was one of the few fortunate people who got to travel with James, who got to have those experiences, and they've shaped me so deeply in terms of my perspective on the issue. And we felt like taking this footage and not doing anything with it would be irresponsible. So we put the time in that we thought was necessary to make the film as good as we possibly could. The film, one of the biggest praises that Sundance gave us was that the film that we ended up resubmitting was so much stronger than the original cut. That we had a film that we could have released to the world, but we took the time that it needed to turn it into a much better film. And that was the most complimentary thing that Sundance said about the film, I feel personally. So it was a huge uphill battle. It was a very, very long run to make the film happen, and it's just a testament to our entire team's passion and dedication. Sorry for the long-winded answer on that part of the question. But in terms of what an individual can do, it's an interesting one because there's only so much that somebody can do in their own life. We're not here, our message isn't to tell you to change your light bulbs or to drive less. You know, if people want to do things that lower their own footprint, there are so many resources out there. ChasingIce.com, our website, has a long list of things that you can do on an individual basis. But you know, I feel like many of us have seen films that talk about those things. I personally feel like I've been inundated with those lists of things that one can do, and we haven't seen them make that much of a big difference in terms of, you know, large-scale impact. What we see our role as being, in terms of the team that made Chasing Ice and the Extreme Ice Survey, we're coming at this as photographers and storytellers and filmmakers. And what we really wanted to do was to share James's imagery and hopefully shed light on the subject in ways that the popular media hasn't been able to do thus far. There's still a lot of debate in the media. There are still people who are skeptical about the issue, but the imagery here is something that people see and they understand. If you guys looked on YouTube, if you search for Chasing Ice, there's a video of a woman who was a complete skeptic about climate change. And after she saw Chasing Ice, it 180 degrees turned her opinion around. And she's now a really outspoken advocate about it, and she's been trying to lend her voice to our cause to tell people how the film impacted her. We're trying to look at the film as serving as a tool to shift perception. Ultimately, the core goal for us is to shift perception. That wasn't the intention when we made the film, but after seeing the success and the impact that it's had, we're wanting to have as much impact as it possibly can. So.